Flooding causes more property damage than any other natural disaster. The National Flood Insurance Program enables property owners in participating communities to purchase insurance from the federal government against losses from flooding. Participation in the National Flood Insurance Program is based on an agreement between local communities and the federal government that requires the community to adopt and enforce floodplain management ordinances to reduce future flood risks.
Dare County and the Town of Manteo both participate in the community rating system. It's a program that awards points to participating governments for activities that promote flood awareness and protection. Those CRS points equate to discounts for property owners on their flood insurance. As part of the CRS program, both the county and the Town of Manteo recently collaborated on the development of a program for public information. The PPI outlines certain outreach activities that the communities want to undertake over the course of the next 12 months. These outreach activities are designed to increase flood safety awareness and decrease flood risk. This video is one of those outreach activities that will provide some basic information on flood insurance and some of those property protection measures. Some of the other outreach activities will be direct mailings that we're doing to targeted audiences of property owners in the town and in unincorporated Dare County. We'll also be doing a series of other videos as well as some presentations to community organizations later in the year.
So a typical homeowner's insurance policy will not cover flood damages. It's very important that you take a look at the policy that you have, and if you need to add flood insurance, that you contact your insurance agent as early as possible. Flood insurance policies typically take 30 days to come into effect, and so you don't want to wait until there's a storm off the coast to look into it. If you already have a flood insurance policy, take a few minutes to review your coverage, your limits, and your deductibles. And if you had done recent renovations or work to your home or your business, make sure that those items are covered as well. If you're a renter, know that your landlord's insurance will not cover the contents of your rental unit and that you should look into purchasing a policy separately.
I'm Hal Goodman. I'm a structural engineer and a member of the Town of Manteo Planning and Zoning Board. I'd like to go over some protection measures that you can take if your house is located within a flood zone, starting with the definition of base flood elevation, referred to as BFE, and it's an elevation that's going to vary even within a given area based on your proximity to the water and the topography of the land. But it's a given elevation. Everything you build, the finished living space needs to be constructed above that elevation plus 1 foot in Dare County and Town of Manteo. One preventative measure that you can take is installing storm shutters on your property. These will protect you from windborne debris as well as diverting some of the water that's being blown at the windows so it doesn't leak through the windows. The storm shutters can be anything from electric roll-up shutter to a simple piece of plywood screwed to the trim on the window frame. Another measure you can take is to install and maintain flood vents on the property. The flood vents need to be at least installed at the rate of 1 square inch of venting for each square foot of enclosed space, and they need to be located no more than 12 inches above the surrounding ground grade. The vents should be kept open at all times if possible. If you're occupying the structure, it is permissible to close them if for some reason you don't want to have them open, but whenever you leave the structure, you should leave them open so that in the event there's a storm when you're not there, the vents are open so they can do what they're required to do, which is equalize the water pressure on both sides of the wall. Additional protective measures that you can take are securing all objects outside the house, such as your propane tank, which can float away in a flood event as well as being toppled over by the wind. The tank should be secured with earth anchors or cabled off to a house piling or anything that's nearby that can help secure the tank. Also, your deck furniture, other loose items outside, if they can't be taken inside or put in an indoor storage room, should be tied off and secured so that they can't become windborne objects and slam into the structure, possibly break a window, do other damage. Something else to take into consideration is pruning any dead limbs you have on trees or any dead trees for that matter, which in the event of the storm can be broken free and might land on your house, might do other damage. Anything you can do to prune all of that and eliminate it is going to help. One preventative measure or construction technique that can be used is to make sure that if you are building a new home, that it's elevated above the base flood elevation plus 1 foot. If it's an existing structure and it's subject to periodic flooding, the other thing that can be done is to actually raise the structure by cutting it loose from its existing foundation, cribbing it in the air, constructing a new foundation up to the proper elevation, and then lowering the house back down onto the new foundation and securing it. And finally, if your home is an elevated structure on piles, you want to make sure to maintain as much of that space under the house as open area. It should only be used for parking, for access to the house, and a limited amount of storage space. You want to keep everything open, preferably enclose it in lattice if you enclose it at all. And any storage space you have that is enclosed needs to have the flood vents we referred to previously.
Taking proactive measures to prepare your property and prepare your family for a flood event will save you a lot of heartache and loss in the long term. Make sure that you're aware of your flood policy and make sure that you've taken these property protection measures very seriously in advance of any flood event.